and fear of losing everything. Yes. Yes, 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 yes. That is why we meditate. Yes, when we go into deep states of meditation, that is why we practice Kriya. When we take ourselves to those transcendent states, what emerges from there is a sense of nothingness, a dynamic nothingness, which you find in the beginning can scare you a little bit. Yes, because your ego structure can't exist there. So when your awareness goes to that level, your ego structure remains on the surface. And there is this feeling of, yes, a subtle experience of, you can kind of micro-dosing death. You know? They do this very trending now. It's micro-dosing of mushroom and micro-dosing of LSD and all kinds of stuff. This Burning Man crowd, you know what I'm saying? We recommend micro-dosing of death through our practice instead of putting substance in. Yes, so it is natural. What we talk about is, it's when we, this thing called death, it's scary to us if we really examine it. If we really examine it, if we just bypass it, then it is not scary. Yes or no? So it is scary, somebody else's death is scary to us because that's our experience of death, is of somebody else's death. Yes? We really have no clue of our own death. But within the death, what are the main fear about death is not just the fear of the unknown, it's about losing the known. That's what the main fear of death is. Yes or no? It's about the fear of losing the known. And transcendence is freedom from the known. Because if you remain within the parameters of the known, you never evolve. So in order to gain your own infinity, you have to be ready to let go of that which is finite. Yes, there is fear in it. And we have to not be surprised about it. So when you are not expecting yourself to be not afraid, when the fear comes, you're like, okay, no problem. You make friends with your fear. You make friends with that anxiety which arises when that feeling arises, oh, I'm losing. Yes? And in that feeling of losing, there is the resistance to that, which is the fear. I don't want to. Yes? But when you're aware of it, you already know that, okay, like you go into a room. Have you had somebody in your, like, did you ever play hide and seek? And somebody was hiding behind the door. And then you didn't know and you walked in and they go, wow, and you had a shock. Yes? I love doing that to people still. It's one of my favorite things to do. I love it. It's so much fun. I recommend it. I think you should do it to everybody you can. Just hide on the street. Just randomly to random strangers, do it. It's a lot of fun. Today when you go out, try it on your fellow people. Just hide behind a rock and just come upon them. So, but then you play, let's say, in a house, right? And then you figure out there is as many hiding places, and then you know, like, there's this kids, like, they go and hide in the same place again. Because the first time you couldn't find them, so now they go and hide in the same place, right? And you know they're hiding there, but you can't see them. You know they're hiding, and they're going to come. But you can't see them, and you don't know when they are going to come at you. Right? So the next time they come, you're not as shocked. You might be slightly shocked. Because you already know, okay, this person is hiding there, and they're going to come. And the third time you come, you don't even get shocked. Okay, like, all right, I'm done with this. You're there, okay, oh, I'm so scared. Right? So, same. When you know this fear is going to come, first time it comes, you make such a big deal about it. Like, I'm afraid of the unknown, what's happening inside of me. I'm afraid of losing that which is known, yes? But when you realize you have to lose that which is known, there is no other option. Nobody can get out of this life without losing what is known. Everybody, every physiology has to come to that point where they lose everything they know. Yes or no? Are you aware of what I'm talking about? Your life is a slow progression in the direction of losing everything you know. People you know, gone. You can't locate them in the physiology anymore. Yes or no? Slowly, slowly, that's where we go. So when we realize that's where we go, we have to play this game. And of course, when we play this game, there is going to be kids hiding behind the doors and they're going to go, whoo. And when you know that, when the fear comes, you don't resist it so much anymore. You don't judge yourself. You give yourself the permission to have the fear. And you do the right thing still. Right? And by doing the right thing, not waiting to feel right when you will do the right thing. No, you do the right thing when the time is upon you. Instead of waiting when you will do the right thing, when you feel like it. Because if you're waiting to feel like doing the right thing, guess what? You're never going to do it. Because the fear comes, feeling changes. Yes or no? The resistance comes and the feeling changes. And what does the resistance say? No, I'm not doing. I can't do this. It's too much for me. Yes or no? So in meditation, it happens the same. We go into deep meditation, and in the beginning, sometimes people will experience that. They go into this deep state, and then as cosmic consciousness starts to dawn on you, sometimes this anxiety can come in people. Has anybody ever had that? How many of you have had that? Like sometimes this, like, what is this? And then you check back, like, okay, am I here? Yes, okay. I don't know, what was that? Yes. So you gotta keep, and then you go back in again, and you go back in again, and slowly, slowly what happens? Your awareness starts to become comfortable with the unknown. Yes. And in that unknown, what starts to arise is greater bliss, greater love, greater trust. Yes. So the fear of losing the known is very natural. And it is extremely courageous to acknowledge that there is a fear of losing the known. Do you understand what I'm talking about? To acknowledge that you have a fear inside of you of losing the known. And then you realize, oh my God, I am going to lose everything I know. This is the fact. Yes or no? I am afraid of losing the known. I'm going to lose everything I know. I better do something about it. Yes or no? I better enliven that dimension within myself where I'm not going to lose anything at all. But to make this transition, I have to face my fears. I have to face my small identity. This identity encased in the bag of skin. I have to transcend that. And in this transcendence, the fear will come strong. The resistance will come strong. And I shouldn't be surprised by it. Yes or no? Like when we say, we were talking about just before this about conditioning, when you have a genuine intention that you want to grow, right? And you take a step in that direction, of course your stuff is going to come up. Yes, let's say somebody has this epiphany inside of them, like, wow, I really am constantly complaining. Has anybody ever had that? Fuck, I'm done with this constantly judging life and complaining. I'm going to try and not do that anymore. Yes or no? And then you say, okay, I'm going to go to India. Why are you going to India? I want to find deeper appreciation in life. I want to live a life where I can appreciate moment instead of constantly having issues with what is. Such a noble intention, yes or no? As soon as you land in India, you got a game to play. The universe says, all right, all right, all right, all right. Let's see how genuine you are with yourself. Here you go, a little bit dust. It's so dusty in India. It's fucking India. You want to find dust-free environment, go to Switzerland, where the headline is that a cat got stuck on the tree. Yes or no? So, when you want to acknowledge something in you, when you want to grow in that certain direction, your resistance will come to keep you from learning that. That's why you don't know it yet. Why? Because you have resistance inside you against that very knowing. That's why you don't know it yet. Are you aware of what I'm saying? You haven't done something because within you there is resistance in doing that. Like somebody doesn't get up at 5 in the morning or doesn't get up before sunrise because their body has resistance to that. So when they will get up, of course their mind will generate reasoning. Oh, just from tomorrow, let's just put a snooze button. And for people like those, they have to invent these snooze clocks which run away. Right? Anybody owns that alarm? You know about these alarm clocks, right? Like they have now these apps you can download on your phones. And you set up an alarm on it, and there is not a snooze button, so it will keep ringing. You have to get up and shake it. And only then it will stop. Or you have to click a picture. It has a picture. And you have to close the same picture. You have to take the frame and the same picture. Only then it will stop. Otherwise, it will keep ringing. You guys don't know about this stuff? You're so old-fashioned, man. You gotta keep up with the technology. What's up? I live in Rishikesh. Here, there is no internet. I know this shit. Download that alarm app. It's quite cool. I don't have it. I wake up whatever time I tell myself to. Yes? But when you have resistance, that resistance is because you haven't done it yet. Yes or no? So that fear is the resistance towards the experience you actually would like to have, but you haven't had it yet. So it shows up as resistance. So you have to be not surprised when that fear comes. Yes? For ultimately, all ending rests in the eternal now. And from that all ending emerges beginning. Beginning and ending and ending and beginning. All endings contained within themselves the promise of beginning. Yes or no? And all beginnings within themselves contain the promise of ending. The beginning and ending are all held in that which has no beginning or ending. So as we enliven our awareness to that level, then we become more and more comfortable with the beginning and endings. And one way is to not lose anything or anyone is to love deeply. If you love intensely anyone, I always say, whoever you love intensely, you will never lose them. So if you become more and more generous with your love, then you don't lose anything or anyone. The more you love, the less you lose. You can always locate someone you truly love, not emotional melodrama, but truly if you have cultivated and enriched your awareness to that level where you know how to love, then you don't lose anyone. You can locate each other beyond all dimensions. Yes? Love is at the heart. Heart is the cosmic consciousness. Cosmic consciousness meaning that which is eternally here. Clear? So we must not be surprised when we are afraid, and I think it's a courageous thing. Very, very courageous. Courageous thing is not to be fearless first. The courageous thing, the first step of courage is to acknowledge there is fear. That's the courageous thing first. Are you aware of what I'm talking about? To acknowledge, when I acknowledge that there is fear inside of me, I become enlivened and aware. Oh my God. And then I stop behaving in the manner which fear makes me behave in. Otherwise, what happens when I don't acknowledge that there is fear inside of me, I keep behaving in manner which is propelled by fear and pretend that this is the logical thing to do. Yes or no? Are you aware of what I'm talking about? So the acknowledging of fear is a very courageous act. Very courageous act. And it's natural that fear will be there, of losing everything. Yes or no? If you imagine, let's say, one of us dies, like I die, let's say, for example, this body dies. You guys will still be here and having fun without me. Not really. Some other value of here you will be at having fun without me. The point is that eventually we will all lose that we know. Yes or no? We are all going to lose what we know. So we better begin to discover that which we don't. And we enliven ourselves to that degree. Yes or no? Where we can learn to be with the unknown. And meditation is the beginning practice for that. That's why we meditate. Every day we get up, we meditate. In meditation, our singular intention is what? To enliven our awareness to that transcendental level. Thoughtless, contentless awareness, where there is nothing at all, just awareness by itself. Yes or no? As we begin to enliven our awareness to that degree, we become more and more comfortable with emptiness. And the more comfortable we are with emptiness, the more easy it is for us to be fearless in the relative field of reality. For every form arises from emptiness and is moving in the direction of emptiness. Yes or no? Emptiness, which is not empty in the sense being that it has nothing in it. Emptiness because it is so profound that it is the potential for everything. But to the lower mind, when the lower mind reaches that state, it experiences that in the beginning as nothing. Yes? And then as we mature within our own practice, in that field of nothingness, we start seeing everything. Yes or no? Visions have and experiences have. And you kind of start having all kinds of universes start to be born inside your own consciousness state. But it requires you to be mature within yourself. It requires you to have self-confidence. It requires you to have self-love, because you can have this experience and then somebody right next to you sitting looking at you, what's going on with you? And you say, I had an experience, where I saw stuff. What did you see? I was seeing just spaces and dimensions. You're making that shit up. Yeah, maybe. Maybe I am. Yes or no? The five sensory world, you can verify. But that inner experience, you can't verify with people who don't know it. Somebody who has had that experience, you can acknowledge with them. Yes or no? But most of the people in the world right now haven't had that experiences yet. So it requires you to have courage. It requires you to have inner maturity, where you can begin to give yourself the permission to have experiences in the dimension which your neighbor might not have it yet. Yes or no? That's beginning of self-love, where you can begin to give yourself the permission to live a life which nobody yet can validate. Got it?